Welcome everyone to 10 Ways to Improve Your LinkedIn Marketing. My name is Sue Elson and I'm an independent LinkedIn specialist based in Melbourne. Great to have you with us, and thank you, Bettina, for joining us all the way from the US. Great to have you with us as well. Not sure what time of the day it is there, but midday here in Melbourne. A very windy Melbourne, so if you hear any wind noise in the background, you know it's definitely a live event. I'm going to focus on specific tips as well as relevant examples, and these slides are already on my website, going through the 10 things listed here. Word of mouth, verifying you. Number 2, due diligence, verifying your enterprise. Number 3, online search results. Number 4, LinkedIn search results. Number 5, having consistent engagement. And number 6, consistent content. 7, research techniques. Number 8, conversion ease. You obviously want people to be able to contact you immediately if you're doing the marketing. Skills and recommendations. And then lastly, paid advertising. For those of you who don't know, my career started 6 days after my last secondary school examination, working full-time and studying part-time. I've continued studying right through my life, even after completing my degree by correspondence. I moved from Adelaide to Melbourne in 1994, and I basically haven't had a real job since. So I'm a member of all these professional associations. My first website, newcomersnetwork.com, went online in 2001, and I joined LinkedIn in 2003. I've been consulting on LinkedIn since 2008, and I've written 2 books on LinkedIn, 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose with LinkedIn in 2016, and then LinkedIn for Me and My Career or Business in 2023. So for everybody who turns up live, I will be sending you these digital files, but for anybody listening to the recording, you can access those files via the latest offer link. And also I'll be hosting a live event for up to 4 people on Saturday the 14th of September here in Melbourne. You're welcome to join that, and you're also welcome to follow me on social media. So every time I run a webinar, this is the 35th in this series of webinars. They started out as 1 hour, they're now down to 30 minutes. I record these statistics. So you can see, obviously, LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform, but YouTube is coming along really nice as well. I'm getting some good numbers there. I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to me on all the channels and click the notification bell as well. Good news, I'm going to be launching a poems and poetry podcast. Haven't decided on the official date yet, but it will be on Apple, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube, and obviously on the new poemsandpoetrypodcast.com website as well. I have been attending the Melbourne Career Expo for a number of years, and there's a number of presentations with both the slides and the recordings. So if you're specifically focused on careers, you're welcome to check those out there as well. So there's my 5 books. The last 2 were both finalists in the Australian Career Book Award. Gigsters is the story about my journey of not having a real job, and I believe the future of work is not jobs but work, and that we'll be using technology to attract aligned gigs, which is basically what I've been doing since I went online in 2001. I also have an online course that you're welcome to complete, which is based on the book and includes videos from all of the sessions. Gunnar says, love the Gigster book, you're a trendsetter. Yes, Gunnar, I actually wrote the Gigsters book before COVID, so it's even more relevant since COVID occurred. So yes, it's I'm very proud of that book. I love the fact it's got poetry in every chapter as well. And my LinkedIn course is becoming much more popular too now. So I'm really pleased that people are accessing that, because, you know, as this comment says here, it's not just about LinkedIn. It's really how to manage your income using technology. There's lots of little notes here, the usual things about acknowledging the traditional owners, where we're all based, this presentation being information, not specific advice for your personal circumstances. I'm assuming everybody's got a varied level of knowledge, but please put questions in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the presentation. I'd love to know what's been most helpful to you. And if you're watching at a later date, the screen may have changed. but it's about 10 hours work to put a 30-minute presentation together. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. So if there's one way that you can say thank you, I would really appreciate it. You can buy a book, follow me on social media, provide a LinkedIn endorsement or recommendation, a Facebook or a Google review. So I'd love to know who has turned up live and what are you trying to market on LinkedIn? Your services of some sort, your products, your enterprise where you work, or something else. So if you can please put a number in the chat or a couple of numbers, that will give me a bit of an idea, and then I can tailor some of the examples that I share based on whether you're mostly services, mostly products, whether you're working for the company. Lots of ones and twos coming through. Ones, so more services than products. That's interesting. Any others prepared to pop in a number there? 3 and 4, your books, of course, Connor, yes. Engaged about 1 million years ago and have your books. Oh, thank you, Nicole. Yes, I have been around for a long time, 2001 in the online world. And it's interesting, many years ago when I was running a Newcomers Network event, somebody said, oh, you're actually a real person. And I said, yep, I turn up live in line as well. So yeah, that's really great. Market yourself to get a job. So Amit, make sure you look at those links from those Melbourne Career Expos because there's lots of content in there about marketing yourself for a job. So that's definitely in there. And yes, Gunnar, we did meet in person in 2018. So that's after I'd written the first 3 books, but before I wrote the last 2. My next 2 books are going to be poetry books, by the way. So I'll be migrating to something different. But of course, I still keep publishing lots of articles. And you are going to see me on more video content, which is something I'm going to be talking about in this session. So I know this sounds really crazy. You've come to a LinkedIn webinar about marketing, and I'm going to talk to you about word of mouth. And you'll be saying, oh my goodness, Sue must be crazy. But let's face it, most business is still done by word of mouth. So despite artificial intelligence, despite social media, despite online search results, most businesses start out with word of mouth marketing. And I believe it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's what or who refers you and how you can be verified. So if your best friend says you should speak to Sue, even though your best friend told you, you're still going to Google me and you're going to check me out on social media, or you might see if I'm in chat results, and I am, which is super exciting. But you're going to do some due diligence. You're going to check things out. And so the same applies to all of you. If somebody hears about you, they're going to want to search for you online. If it's for a job, 75% will Google you before an interview and 95% before a job offer. Don't ask me where those stats come from. It's just one I've stuck in the memory bank. But also when LinkedIn started out, it was very much focused on your online resume and jobs, whereas now it's based on skills. So what employers or individuals or enterprises want is they want somebody to come in and help them with whatever it is they need, a product or a service. And that is going to be mostly driven by skills. So you'll see that your skills can be added to 5 sections of your LinkedIn profile now. Your about section, each of your experiences, your education section, your licenses and certification section, as well as projects. So please nominate the skills for all of those. It's going to help you market what you have to offer. Obviously, you want to have recommendations that you've both given and received, and your LinkedIn profile needs to be up to date. Now, I work with a lot of individuals, and a lot of them will come to me often for only 1 hour, but then they don't do the work afterwards. They're not going to get the results if you don't update your LinkedIn profile. So it's one of those tasks that I know a lot of us put off because we don't like writing about ourselves, but it is necessary and really, really valuable to do. It's also a great way to reflect on all the fabulous things you've done throughout your working life. So don't forget that. And there's ways to massage the message to attract those opportunities to you. Also, when somebody's going to be looking at you online, they're going to see what you've been doing recently on the platform, and that's going to be an indicator as well as to your digital literacy, you have a LinkedIn profile, or your digital competency, you're using it to your advantage. So you need to be ready to be verified at any time. And if you'd like more tips on how to update your LinkedIn profile or the career tools that I went through at the Melbourne Career Expo, you can check out those links. So that's word of mouth verifying you. Now, the next thing is if you're part of an enterprise, the individual checking you out is going to want to verify your enterprise. And the number of company pages on LinkedIn that have not filled in all these boxes is a little concerning. So LinkedIn is always updating the platform. So at least every 6 months, I suggest you click on every menu choice and setting, and you just make sure it's been filled in if that is at all possible. And I know it sounds like a very boring task. Why can't I just make sales? Well, you're not going to make sales if people can't make that executive decision based on the information they see online. So also, you are more likely to appear in search results if your profile is completed, because it's a database, and the more fields that are filled in, the more opportunity you have to appear in those search results. So make sure you add in things like workplace, commitments, locations, fill in the lead generation form. They're all there to be filled in. Try and aim for at least 500 or more followers of your company page. And you might say, well, Sue, why did you create a company page called Sue Elson? Well, I am the business, so that's why I've created one called Sue Elson. I also have one for 120 Ways Publishing, which is where I publish my books under the business name. But I've got over 800 followers there, which is super exciting. But what I love about it is all my Sue Elson content can be in one spot. So people don't have to scroll through all that mess on my profile. They can actually see it directly on my LinkedIn company page. So it's very good. I get over 2,000 search results like a week with the Sue Elson company page. So it's really, really, really helpful to me. And then people self-select and decide whether or not they want to contact me from that. The other thing is, if you're an enterprise on LinkedIn, what level of employee engagement do you have? Now, any organization that I'm a part of, I love to like their posts and write comments, because I wouldn't get the gig if I wasn't working for that organization. So we should, even if we're employees or contractors, be supporting the organizations that support us, as well as the membership associations we're a part of as well. Nice to see you here, Melita. So for the Career Development Association of Australia, wherever I can, I will like their posts, write comments, and engage with it as a professional member. You have a question, Melita?
Yes, I'm just looking at my company page. I can't find the section that you're talking about.
It's all right. Let me show you on mine. So from my Me menu, I go to my company page, and then I have to choose over here on the left, Edit Page.
Okay,
And that's where all those choices are. Yeah, great question.
cool. That's right. That's just
So yeah, it's not immediately obvious, but it's definitely there. They've also changed the company page around recently. So before we used to see the news feed right at the top, just as we would on our personal profile. But now if we want to put a post out on our company page, we've got to press this create button, and then we've got all those choices there to do it. So, there's been a little change to company pages recently. But yeah, thank you for asking that question.
also,
All right.
there's a
So yeah, another question.
Oh, sorry. I was just having a look under some of the sections that said some of them require a LinkedIn career pages subscription.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah, so that's really if you're a larger employer and you've got jobs on offer on a regular basis. For the most of us, as individual businesses, we don't need it. So yeah,
No,
I haven't got
cool.
that one there. So I'll move on because we've got to get through lots of stuff in the 30 minutes. There's 6 monthly. I would recommend that you do an audit of all your social media profiles. Make sure your logos are correct, your taglines are right, you've filled in all the boxes because often they add new sections, and set some goals that you would like to achieve. Because if you don't set a goal, you won't increase your followers, you won't run regular events, you won't have a regular newsletter, you won't do those other things that are available to you. And there's some more links for more information as well. The next thing is to appear in online search results. So the number one field to market yourself on LinkedIn is your headline, which is directly underneath your name. So you can see here, I have a formula, which is label, independent LinkedIn specialist, keywords in priority order. So one of my clients recently called me a digital mentor. I thought that's a great name for me. So I definitely help people a lot with that. So I put that in there. But then obviously all these other things. And then I put in a little emoji at the end because I'm a woman of a certain age and I want you all to know I'm still active. So I do that, and also just because it gives somebody something to talk about. What sort of dancing do you do, etc., etc. So that's the number one field to market yourself, and obviously the description on your company page. And you want to have as many keywords as possible. I know some people believe in value statements, but I want to be in search results first and then talk about the value second. Make sure you've changed your URL to just your name and be reasonably active and engaging and focus on those primary and secondary keywords. You'll see there's no words repeated there because there's no benefit of writing the same word more than once. So there's an article here I've written on how to be found in Google results, as well as what keywords and where you can find some of those keywords that you can pop throughout your LinkedIn profile. Now, when you do a search in LinkedIn, so I've just done a little search here for a LinkedIn specialist, and I've chosen the people box, and you can see that the way LinkedIn has produced people is the word LinkedIn is either in the headline or in the current job title. So that helps us determine where is the most important place to do that marketing so that you can be found. So here you can see specialist at LinkedIn, and then specialist in the current job title. As we go further down the list, we can see it was in a previous job title. So that's the next level down of the priority of keywords. And then that goes back to somebody who's perhaps a little less active. See, these are premium members too, you can see. These people may be reasonably active. Interesting how people came up in Sydney instead of Melbourne, because obviously I'm based in Melbourne when I did this search yesterday. But you can get a feel for how the algorithm is working within the platform if you actually do searches within the platform. So you want to have your keywords in your headline and in your job titles. Make sure you also have it in your skills and you've got people who voted for that. And then in your other sections, education, licenses and certifications, projects, organizations, whatever. And also make sure you connect with other similar people in your profession or industry, because then the database knows, well, if I'm connected to a whole bunch of other LinkedIn specialists, then I must also be a LinkedIn specialist because I'm in that group of people, both locally and internationally. And then if you want to have your products or services found by particular organizations, you want to be following those organizations, because if you're following the company page, then you're more likely to appear in their search results as well. So I was working with a lovely woman in her 40s from Los Angeles, and she offers decluttering and minimalist and conscious parenting services to people with loads of money in Los Angeles. So we looked at her actually following the Louis Vuitton company page, because the people who can afford Louis Vuitton luggage are probably more likely to be people who could afford to have somebody come in and help them with those additional done-for-you services. So yeah, so we were looking for organisations she could follow. I am a particular fan of working close to home, not working from home, working close to home. So if you are looking for a job or products or services that you want to market in a local area, get your Google Maps out and hover over everything within a 5 to 10 kilometre radius and look for the names of these organisations and follow them on LinkedIn so that you can be an active member of that local community. Also, all search results, the number one criteria, first of all, is location. So the more connected you are in your local community, the better that is for your marketing as well. LinkedIn is obviously a database, and some keywords are going to have higher priority. An interesting fun fact, I had the word fraud mentioned in my first career that ended in 1994. And 2 years ago, I got a call from a recruiter looking for somebody with fraud experience, just because I had that one word fraud on my LinkedIn profile. So you can't in my view, put too much information on your LinkedIn profile, so long as it's easy to read and scan friendly. I've also written an article for the Word Empire website recently on LinkedIn profile hacks, and you're welcome to check that out as well. And how do you Google search for local companies? Oh, okay, Amit. I might do that at the end of the presentation, but I will show you. So thank you. It's a great question. All right. Consistent engagement. So I often say that all social media is a megalomaniac. It wants more people on the platform more often and for longer. So any behavior that you do on any social media platform that encourages that is going to help you within the platform. So if you react, thumbs up, clapping hands, support, love, insight, laugh to content, or you write lengthy comments, that means you are listening on the platform, and everybody loves it when you engage with their content because there's, oh, there's that nice person who engaged with my content. But you can also endorse people for their skills. You can write recommendations. And if you contribute to at least 3 collaborative articles, you will also get this nice little yellow shiny badge on your profile, and it says here I'm a top career development voice. So as long as I do 3 articles every 90 days, then I put a little comment in there, I can get that little badge on there. And also, if I click on the notification bell of organisations like the CDAA, Australian Society of Authors, Melita, because she's active, then I'm more likely to see that content in my news feed, and it's more relevant for me. So it's a way of curating what I engage with. So for instance, if I'm getting a lot of referrals, word of mouth again, from a particular person or an organisation, that person or organisation is a VIP that is marketing my services out there. So of course, I'm going to click on the notification bell and choose all new posts so I can support them online. So give yourself 10 minutes a week that you go through your news feed and you support everybody else. And then there's another webinar there that you can check out for more. And likewise, you also need to be putting content out there. So you need to be speaking. Now, Brendan Wong, who heads up careers for LinkedIn here in Australia at LinkedIn, has given this post 6 days ago or 7 days ago, because I did that screenshot yesterday, on video. And so the news feed on your mobile device is about to change. And what's going to happen is there's going to be recommended videos as soon as you log into LinkedIn on your mobile device. So some of you may already have that. So your video content is going to go there. So when we hear this kind of news, if we want to market our goods and services, we really have to be on top of it and say, right, video is where I need to be. So posts are in the news feed and are dynamic, can last maybe 7 to 14 days, depending on the quality and how good it is and how much engagement you get. Articles I love because they're lifetime value. Newsletters are articles which are also lifetime value, but they also notify people about them. Groups, yeah, they used to be great, not so great now, but if they're well moderated, they can be sort of okay. And I obviously run events every month, so I definitely recommend those. So what I love about having a LinkedIn newsletter is every time someone connects with me personally or follows my company page, they are invited to subscribe to my newsletter, and it's not another annoying email in their inbox. It's just a little notification on LinkedIn. So it's not as invasive as an email newsletter subscription. So I really love those tools for content. Gunnar says groups are great to find people because they don't leave even when groups turn passive. Yeah, that's true. So if you're trying to do research to market your products or services, you could go through a group and find your target audience. You can also look at organizations. So one of my clients is moving into supporting the childcare industry. So I've gone to the childcare industry company pages, and everybody who's engaging with that content, I'm inviting those people to connect to my client. So yeah, you can find, research is amazing. So that's it. Research techniques. Who is your ideal client? Now, I've told this story many times, but I tell it for a very good reason. One of my students was an academic at a university here in Melbourne and very successful in her career, but she was leaving the university and she decided that her future career would be editing PhD papers before they were submitted, for the process of being verified and authorised, whatever it is for a PhD. So she went out and purchased a brand spanking new website for $20,000 without, and I'm an ex-banker, so the thought of spending $20,000 when you haven't got one client is outrageous to me. And likewise, this was a brochure website. She couldn't even edit it, and she had got not one sale from it. Now, she could have started her entire business via her LinkedIn profile. And all she had to do, because let's face it, everybody who's studying a PhD proudly announces on LinkedIn, I am studying my PhD. So it wouldn't have taken much research on LinkedIn to find people studying a PhD and to connect with them and then just wait until they were ready for PhD editing services. So if she'd connected to all those people studying PhDs, she would have got leads and she never even needed a website. So if that's the case, who is it you are trying to reach? So likewise, for this person who was based overseas, who was trying to do a lot of marketing through Instagram, she was getting all these tire kickers who didn't want to spend money. They just wanted free tips from the Instagram profile. But if she went to the people who would actually be able to pay for her services via LinkedIn, she would have marketed her business so much more effectively. So here's a test for you. Who is your ideal client and where are they? And are you connected to every one of your current and past clients on LinkedIn? So have you done a sort of a dump of all your invoices or your customer relationship management system and cross-checked to make sure that everybody you've done business with is in your LinkedIn network? And do you know where to find warm leads? Do you have a follow-up sequence? And where can you find your target audience? So just as Gunnar said, it could be in a group, it could be in an association, it could be in people who engage with particular content or hashtags or anywhere. But the other thing you can do is a Google advanced search. So at the end, I'll show you how to do that as well. And here's 2 pieces for how to find warm leads and how to improve your LinkedIn research. Number 8, let's say somebody finds you on LinkedIn and they're ready to do business with you. They love the story there, but they can't find your email address or they can't find your phone number. Now, my phone number has been on the internet since 2001, and I have never had people ring me unnecessarily because my message is so clear that the only people who call me are the ones who are actually interested in doing business with me. I make it very clear I charge, so I don't get, how do I fix this on LinkedIn? I don't get those calls anymore. I used to before my message was clear, but now that my message is clear, I don't get those calls. So my phone number and email address is available in the contact info section. It's in my about section, and it's also in each of my experience sections. I've put my contact details there. So it's very easy to convert and get people to come through to me. And I've mentioned it's also on my services page and it's also on my company page. How do you classify useful contacts within your connections amongst the connections? Amit, the only way you can really do that is if you had something like Sales Navigator and you can then allocate tags to all of your connections, which is a cost. And back in the very, very early days of LinkedIn, we used to be able to tag all of our connections, but we can't do that anymore. So I just say, look, in your heart of hearts, if you know people who've been always really supportive of you or companies and whatever, just give them that notification bell. That's really the best way we can do it now. And where do I create events on LinkedIn? Well, I can do it as a person or as a company page. I'll show you that at the end as well. But just remember that if somebody's looking to reach out to you and they can't find your contact details, a lot of the time they're going to shoot somewhere else. So just remember that. There's also this article on the benefits of LinkedIn. Also, if you Google LinkedIn for women, I've got an article that comes up which you may also find helpful. Now, skills and recommendations. Be strategic. Remember that whatever you put in writing can be used in court. Include your keywords on recommendations you give and receive. And remember that talking about what you've achieved is not bragging. If you say you're the best at something, it probably is. But if you just say you did A, B, and C, that past behavior can be a predictor for future behavior. And, you know, it's great that in these little recommendations here, people have used lots of keywords that I was very, very grateful for. But also I've provided these links to what to do before you sack someone and what to do before you quit your job, because these are good strategies, you know, because we never know how long we're going to be in any role or if we need to let somebody else go. And there's ways to do this ethically and appropriately, and there's a little bit of housekeeping that you should do before you know, making those executive decisions. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is paid advertising, and I'm going to tell you straight out, I am not a LinkedIn advertising specialist, but AJ Wilcox, who I think is in the US, definitely is. Now, there is no point in my mind of doing anything paid on any social media platform unless you've done all the free things first. And there's never been one person I've met that's done all the free things first. So please explore all of the free options before you go down this path, because even if you think about your target audience, like the PhD student, how often is a PhD student opening up their LinkedIn profile and looking at sponsored messages? Probably not a whole lot. So if you were spending a lot of money on an ad to reach that person, it may have appeared on their screen, but they may never have seen it. So we want to make sure that you're targeting your marketing directly to the people that need it, rather just shotgun approach with advertisements. So you've really got to think about this. And the example I like to talk about is a school. They paid $15,000 to appear on a local real estate website, thinking, well, anybody moving into the area might not know about this school, so we would like to make sure they see it when they're looking for a house in the area. Now, would you believe they didn't get one lead out of that? But if they had paid $5,000 to 3 schools, local feeder schools, to say, you know, we would love to recommend you to our secondary school in the local area. We're hosting a little high tea afternoon. We're going to support the local bakery by providing baked goods and fresh fruit from the grocery, to introduce our school to your families, fun, food and free. They would have got loads of enrolments from that process, and it would have been a much better spend of their $15,000, and it would have supported the community, not a large organisation. So I'm really keen for you to think about marketing, not just in, oh, well, we got a budget for LinkedIn ads. No, if you've got a budget of 15,000, what is the best way to spend that 15,000? And it could be by getting a whole bunch of volunteers to help you connect with alumni, or it could be something else. It might not necessarily be just throwing money at ads. So please think about that. Also, what free content has worked. Now, Richard van der Blom puts out an annual LinkedIn report on the LinkedIn algorithm. So there's the link to the most recent one I could find, and he has lots of insights in that. So that can help you understand how the platform is working, and you can optimize it that way. And Lynette Johnston is based over in New Zealand, and she produces amazing content giving you updates on what's happening on LinkedIn so that you can follow those trends. Because if you follow the trends on LinkedIn, you're more likely to reach those audience. So that video trend is really important now. So keep that in mind as well. So they are the 10 things. Please pop in the chat what has stood out for you, because it's great recall for the other people who are here in the webinar. And also, if you mention that in any reviews that you write online, that's fantastic as well. And it's good for you. Pamela said research techniques. Yes, it's so cool. Consistency, Nicole. And please try and choose 3 things to do in 3 hours from now. So I went to an amazing webinar run by the CDAA that Melita organised recently. And before I turned off my computer that night, I'd updated 3 things immediately. I was so excited. So it's really good. Now, don't worry, Amit, I will come back and show you the Google search. These are all the previous webinars I've done, and I will put this recording online immediately. So it'll be on my YouTube channel later today. Don't forget, I've got the online course. Everybody who's here will get these digital files. Don't forget to follow me on social media, check out my books. There's loads of extra resources on my website in the blog, publications, presentations, podcasts, appearances, and television videos. Oh, I love this, Nicole. You've put 3 dot points in. Make sure my headline statement includes my keywords, link in with local businesses like Sue Online. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you, Nicole. That's really sweet. And if you haven't already, here is an easy way to just scan a QR code and write a review. I'm very grateful of the 148 people who've written me a Google review and the 8 people who've written me a Facebook review. And I've also got loads of reviews on my website, sueelson.com/reviews. And I'm really, really grateful for those. So thank you for that. Okay, so which QR code generator do you use? These are all just by the one that comes up, QR-code-generator. But the one I recommend to my clients, Melita, is bit.ly, because if you use a bit.ly QR code generator, you can actually see how many times people have scanned the QR code. And that can be really helpful so that you know that your QR code is actually being scanned. So that would be the one that I would actually recommend. Okay, so let's go into these additional things here for you. So I mentioned how to search for business. So let's just go to Google Maps. And what I will do is I will show you what I would do. This is roughly where I am. So Mailing Road is not far from where I live. So I would just zoom in on Google Maps and I would say, okay, here's a business, here's a business, here's a business, and anything that is related to what I want to market or where I think my goods or services would be helpful. I would then look them up on LinkedIn. Now I know they're not on LinkedIn because it's an old bloke who runs it and it's not really done. But you can find all sorts of businesses just by scrolling over the maps and seeing them. Now, another thing that I did looking for a job, Ahmed, I was living along here on Canterbury Road, very noisy, working from home. I was going nuts and I thought, I've got to get out of this place. So I wrote up a little introduction letter on one piece of paper, folded into 3, not even an envelope. And I went along Canterbury Road and put it under the doors of all these businesses at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I didn't even have to speak to anybody. And I immediately got a phone call and said, you can come and work here on a part-time basis for us. And 2 years later, somebody still had that letter and I got another gig 2 years later from that little process. So you can actually just go and get a little piece of paper and deliver it. Because the problem is digital content, if you sent an email to all these businesses, it would get lost in that day's emails and then they'd forget it and never see it again. But a piece of paper is physical and people hold on to it. So that's why I got the gig 2 years later from that little print drop that I did in my local area. So the next question was, I just want to go back, local companies. Oh, Google Advanced Search is another thing I mentioned. So if you can do your normal searches on LinkedIn via that search box, but the other day I was doing work for a client and he was looking for CEOs that also mentioned manufacturing on their LinkedIn profile and that are in Melbourne because he's about to launch a new podcast. So most CEOs have terrible LinkedIn profiles, but they will normally mention that they're a CEO and they'll normally mention that it's a manufacturing business. So you can just do that and then you can search not just the LinkedIn network that you have access based on your connections, you can search the entire LinkedIn database as many times as you want for free using this advanced search here on Google. So then what you can do is you can do right click open in a new tab for each of these individual people. And then when you look at their LinkedIn profile, so then you go through each tab and you say, all right, would Henry be a suitable person for me to reach out to? I would then connect, put in a little message and say, hi, Henry, about to launch my podcast. Here's the link. Would love to connect. Boom, send it off. And on my premium account, I can send out lots of connection requests with a 300-character message. And it's a really great way to find specific people who would be interested. And that's why I love running events, because it gives me an excuse to reach out to people and not just say, please buy my LinkedIn course or whatever it is that, I'm trying to promote, or the podcast or whatever. It gives people that segue to the introduction. So you can do as many Google advanced searches as you want. But if you were doing those searches within LinkedIn, you would eventually run out of opportunities to do that. So that's the other question. How do you create events? Okay, so I put all my events on my company page. So you can see here events, and you'll see, whoops, and that did that this morning to me as well. LinkedIn is a bit glitchy sometimes. So we'll just try it again. Events. No, it's still going back to Henry. I'll pause a little bit longer. Sometimes if the page doesn't serve long enough, you end up with a right. We'll try again. Events, right. So here's the next two ones. The next one is next Wednesday on how ways to improve your LinkedIn sales. This one was late in the month because I got a throat infection. I lost my voice. And the next one is early because I'm off to Perth to speak at an event. So I've got 2 in 2 weeks. So anyway, and then the next one will be LinkedIn lead generation on the 9th of October. But these are my events, and you can see all my past events. So that's why I love putting my events on my company page rather than my personal profile. And to create it, you just choose create and you choose create an event. Now, when you create an event, it is really important that you tick this box and link to your website. Now, hopefully you have a privacy policy on your website, but if you don't, just link to the contact page. You know, it's a little workaround for you. But the benefit of doing this is that when you run the event, you'll be able to see everyone who's registered, and you'll be able to download that list. And you'll also be able to see true or false whether those people would like to stay in touch with you. So that's the benefit of running a LinkedIn event. And also you can invite 1,000 connections per week to the event. So I always put them up at least 4 weeks in advance so I can invite 4,000 people to each event that I run. Now, some people have turned off event notifications, so it doesn't work as well as it used to, but it's still a great way to let people know that you are running. So thank you for that question, Bettina. Did you have any others related to the events?
How do you send 1,000 invitations?
Yep. Okay, let me show you that. So I go to the event. And apologies for the delay. And I choose share, invite. Now you might say, all right, just tick, tick, tick 1,000 times. That's going to take you forever. And you know, none of us have that length of time. So what I normally do is I choose a location or an industry. Let's say I wanted professional services. Okay, let's choose professional services, the industry. Now you can see I've already invited a lot of people. So I'll just take those out because these are people I work with and they're not going to need that. So you just tick this top box and you just keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So you can see I've already done this for this event. I probably should have chosen the next event. But you just keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling until you can scroll no more. And then you tick the box and then they'll all appear over here as the 1,000 people, and then you invite them. So yeah, it works for now. Don't know whether it will continue to work, but let's hope it does. All right, so going back, do all the free things. Nicole said yes. Google search, done that. I'm updating my company page with extra commitments, and we use the research probes. Good on you, Melita. That's terrific. Which QR code? Yep, done that. Often promoting online services with physical ads can work well. Oh, okay. Have you done ads on LinkedIn with that, Melita, or no? Yeah, look, I haven't heard anyone who's got success out of LinkedIn ads, but I mean, I'm not generally in that field, so I'm not the best person to ask on it, but I still believe every enterprise should have all the free things done first, because let's face it, why run ads and people look at your company page and there's 6 followers? I mean, it doesn't look good for you. You know, you need to have that sort of 500 followers happening first. So yeah, I think that's important. Set up a new privacy policy for running the LinkedIn events. Great. Google expects every website to have a privacy policy as well. So your website will rank less if you don't have a privacy policy on it. So it's worth having a privacy policy. Steve says, where are you speaking in Perth? Can we book? Oh, that's lovely. Look, maybe we can catch up there, Steve. I'll show you. It's on my website. All my upcoming presentations are listed here. So, whoops, I'll just move that Zoom thing out the way. It's part of the Association of School Business Administrators. So these are the people who run the finances for private schools. And I'm going to be helping those private schools understand how they can use LinkedIn for their school. It's going to be, well, sorry, it's not really in Perth. It's in Busselton, which I believe is 2.5 hours south of Perth. But obviously I'll be flying into Perth. So if you'd like me to speak at something whilst I'm there, it's just a couple of weeks away. I'm speaking on the 11th, which I believe is the Wednesday, but I'm coming in on the Monday. No, I think it's the Tuesday. Coming in on the Monday, arriving in Busselton on the Tuesday, presenting Wednesday morning, that's right. Wednesday morning I'm presenting, and then Thursday I'm heading back to Perth. So that's where I'll be. And yeah, if you want me to run something, just let me know. We might be able to work something out. So yeah, just reach out. But thank you for that. Need to dip out now. Good sessions. Thank you, Julia. So any final questions? We've gone well over the 30 minutes, but covered lots of extra little things there. More than happy to answer any other questions you have. You can raise your hand, wave at me on the screen, unmute, whatever you like. Or if you don't want to ask the question publicly, just reach out to me directly. Nice to see some familiar names in here too, and some new ones. A lot of great information. Thank you, Pamela. Yeah, I aim to, look, I'm a learning junkie. I'm going to events all the time, and I try and make sure every single word I said adds some sort of value. It's not just waffle, waffle, waffle. That's why it takes 10 hours to put a 30-minute webinar together, because I'm condensing what I think would be most relevant for the particular topic. So I do put a lot of work into each presentation. So yeah, and the good news is these presentations are being found. So for instance, there's an Australian from Perth who now lives in Mumbai, and he found a video of me on YouTube, and voila, I got a client out of that. Oh, look, there's my book, Nicole. Thank you. Oh, look, that's lovely to see. I'm also really happy if any of you are associated with a library. I'm more than happy to send my books to libraries because I love having my books in libraries. So please let me know if that's an option. I'm always happy to send a book to a library and have it there so that multiple people can read it. 10 minutes a week on LinkedIn. Yes, Geraldine, not half your life. A lot of people just go into these social media vortexes and waste hours and hours of their life on there. It's not necessary. If you're focused, you can be really effective, and that engagement will work really, really well. Thanks, Nicole. See you next time. Yeah. Any other questions? See you, Melita. Which is the one of the books I should buy? Okay, Amit, what sort of work are you looking for? Can you let me know? And feel free to unmute. LinkedIn Premium while searching for a job.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go on. Go ahead, Amit.
Yeah. Hi, Sue. We met actually at a Treasurers Conference where you came and did a presentation years ago.
Oh, my goodness. Up in Queensland.
I am, yes. And so I provide professional services,
Yes.
accountant and a risk manager and strategy, all that stuff. So it's improving my, the problem I struggle with is that you apply for jobs, the skills, you can do it, but you've got to go back and check those skills on my LinkedIn profile. And I now put so many skills there that I'm just saying, yes, I do have them, but I need to be a little organized in this
All
way.
right.
And
so that gives me a very good insight. So first of all, as we get older and have more experience, we become more expensive. And some organizations can afford us and some cannot. And also, if we are competing against 300 other applicants, that is, a bit of a mind challenge to do that. So I think the better thing is for you to really work out what are the types of organizations where you would love to work? Like, where would be the ideal location? Is it a 10-minute drive from home? Does it have international dealings? Does it have a strong governance, risk and compliance component? Like, what does that job look like? And then target those organizations, assuming all your profile is filled in and all the detail is there, and then reach out to those organizations. I'll give you an example of how this worked for one of my clients. We updated his LinkedIn profile. He had moved to Australia from Paris, France, where he had a very senior role in management accounting. And he comes to Australia because his wife had a very senior role in the automotive industry. Now, he had a part-time job from the French affiliate here in Australia, and she had this senior exec level role, and my job was to help him find a full-time role. So rather than compete against the 300 other applicants for a management accountant role in Australia, I spoke to a recruiter and I said, would you consider him as an applicant? And they said, no, because he's not a CPA. Now, what a ridiculous statement. He's got international management accounting experience. So what we did is we, as I said, filled in his LinkedIn profile, and then we decided who would be a good person for him to speak to who could refer him to a fabulous opportunity. So we found a guy who spoke French, who worked in a Big Four consulting firm, who worked with all these clients from a consulting perspective. He was recommended to a job in a manufacturing firm that had international deals, went for the job interview, got the job. Boom, boom. No competition, no waiting, no delays. So I think it's that type of approach that's going to work much better for you than applying for the 10% of jobs that are advertised online, because obviously that job was never advertised. It was found through networking or referrals, and that's the main strategy that I would recommend for you. So the second book, 120 Ways to Attract the Right Career or Business, goes into a lot of those strategies for you, but also Gigsters is an alternative way, because the Gigsters book talks, and by the way, if you want to download these for free, if money is a problem, you can just go to researchgate.net and search for me as the author, and you can download the digital ones for free. So
which one is that? Sorry, research?
researchgate.net. Yeah, and you can download the digital version for free. So the Gigsters book will help you attract those opportunities to you by the way you're active online. So I believe the future of work is not jobs, but particularly for people with high level skills, fractional type work is going to be much more useful. So you could do 2 days a week here, 1 day a week there, and 2 days a week somewhere else. You've got a full-time job, you're paid what you're worth, you've got all that integrated knowledge that you can apply across the 3 organizations. Doesn't look like what you imagine, but could end up being far more interesting and far more sustainable. So I'd like you to sort of think more broadly about that as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, Nazrin has asked, do you advise getting LinkedIn Premium while searching for a job? Well, first of all, if you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile, absolutely not, because there's no benefit of paying for premium if you're not going to appear in search results. But if you have done all the things and then you do it for 1 month and then you actively network and reach out to people, you will appear higher in the candidates list if you have LinkedIn Premium. And you will also be able to do more searches. You'll be able to do more in-mails. You can have an away message installed. You know, there's a few extra perks, but there's no point having premium if you have not updated your LinkedIn profile and done all the other things I suggest first. Yeah. Cool. Wow, these are great questions, and we're up to an hour, nearly. Any final ones? Thank you, Nazrin, for the thumbs up there. All good? Yes, thank you. Bettina, another question?
When you create an event, do you post the LinkedIn URL or the external event link, or you just send them for people later?
Very, very good question. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I use here. So we'll go back to the event and we'll show you, I'll show you the next one that doesn't have any registrations because it's a bit more like a brand new event. Okay, so I copy paste the information from each one because it's the same sort of series, 10 ways to improve your LinkedIn something. So it's always the same sequence. So it makes it much easier for me to rinse and repeat these on a monthly basis. But you can see here that the event link is going to my website. So I've already put the event on my website, even though it hasn't run. And the reason I put this event link in here is after the event has run, you cannot edit anything on the event. And also you cannot delete the event either. You can change the date, but you can't ever delete an event. So if I can't delete an event and people click on this link, they can still go to my website and see any details about it. So that's the link I put in there. But if you look in the details of the event, you'll see again, I've put the link to my website page, and you'll also see that I've got in here the Zoom link, and I've also got the link to Eventbrite where people can also register if they don't have a LinkedIn profile, but they were led to this. So I put every event on Eventbrite, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course on my website. Some people here in Australia use Humanitix instead of Eventbrite because it's Australian based and it's got better security processes. But yeah, so you could follow that format as much as you like. And then obviously I promote it, but then I also use this link up the top here, not the about bit, but that link. And then I share it as a personal post as well, because when you publish it from the company page, it doesn't go very far. So I also put it out as a personal link. If you look at this link on my website, you will see that I've pre-prepared it all for the video recording, the PowerPoint slides and so on. And I've also got where I've shared it, and I will put the links to these in here later as well. So that when the robots come in and look at the content, it goes out and sees that this content has been shared far and wide. So it is time consuming, Bettina, to do all of this for each event. So you've got to be able to systemize it so that, I just duplicate it each time. And it's changed over time. If you look at my first one compared to this one, it has upgraded over the time as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pamela. She had to go as well. So all good. Great information. Thank you, David. All right. I think we might wrap it up. Thank you all for your participation. Lovely to see you online. Look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn as well. And feel free to reach out if you've got any other questions or concerns. And as I said, I welcome any online reviews, recommendations, all that sort of thing. And thank you for turning up. Woody Allen says 60% of success or 80% of success is turning up. And so you'll always get much more value if you actually turn up. So well done on that. Thank you, everyone, and bye for now.